Hi, I'm Aaron. I'm an IT professional working in Orange County, but I've spent the last 10 years driving up to Central California on weekends to help my family turn what was a tore-up cattle ranch into what is now Run Vineyards and Winery. My parents just announced that in 5 years they're moving to France, and I've got that much time to grow the business, become a winemaker, and figure out how to run this place myself. Okay, so like I was saying, the first thing you're going to notice is you're going to see bigger barrels and you're going to see smaller barrels. You're going to notice some of them are new and nice looking, some of them are covered in wine droppings, which means they might be brand new, they might be 5 years old. You're going to notice they come from different manufacturers, like this is Seguin, Moreau, St. Martin. You're going to see mostly Seguin, Moreau, and St. Martin in here. Every cooper does things a little bit differently. This guy, Rhone, I think that's also a French barrel. Back here you're also going to have some American and Hungarian wood. And so what's all this stuff mean? New French barrels, it's a good place to start. They cost about $1,000, so it's relatively expensive. And there's lots of good oak sugar in this oak. And there's also lots of interesting flavors that gets transmitted to the wine, like different spices and all kinds of stuff. And there's also oxygen in this wood, which is why new wood floats and old wood sinks. So there's lots of oxygen. So what are we transmitting to a wine? Oak sugars, flavors from the oak, and they even toast these. You know, they put these over wood, and a heavier toasted oak, just like heavier toasted bread, is going to have some more flavor there. And so you're exposing the wine to oxygen, a little bit of oxygen, lots of oak sugar, lots of oak flavors. So if you've got a big, heavy, intense Syrah or Petit Syrah, or if we were Napa and we're talking about Cab, that's great. Maybe that wine can take all that stuff and integrate it, and the final product is a really nice integrated wine that can stand up to all the wood flavors. If you put a lighter wine in here, like a Grenache or a Pinot or something like that, it's going to get overwhelmed and it's going to taste like you're chewing on an oak barrel. So you hear about a lot of winemakers making, 1/3 of their wine sits in new French oak, and the other, 2/3, who knows what they do with it. So if we look around a little bit more, we might be able to find one that's, say, 3 or 4 years old, which means it's totally neutral. So if you put wine in a neutral barrel, it's no longer picking up any oak sugars, any oak flavors, but still just the contact with the wood and that slight little bit of oxygen getting in there is going to soften up the wine and bring it closer to what, something that somebody would actually want to drink. Right now, anytime we want to, we can pop open any of these barrels and taste it, and some of them are going to taste kind of astringent and not ready for bottling, and that's because grapes have tannins in them. They're a phenol. And that gives structure to the wine, but it also makes it taste like there's saran wrap wrapped around your tongue. Well, a couple years in these barrels, and it's going to taste soft and nice. So once again, bigger wineries, they make big decisions. Like, we've noticed our Pinot does really good in American oak, and it's cheaper and it's easier to get and whatever. We've noticed our Grenache does really well in neutral oak, or French oak that's 2 years old, or whatever. For a small winery, basically what we do is we have to experiment a lot. So we'll take our Syrah, we'll harvest it, and we'll put it in one new Seguin Moreau barrel, one 5-year-old neutral barrel, and then one Hungarian barrel. And then we'll come out here and we'll taste the wine after 6 months. We all take our notes, and we have an A barrel and a B barrel and a C barrel, and then we come taste 6 months later, and our opinion of the wines have totally changed. They're always completely different, but you get a good idea of how that particular varietal does in that barrel. Although there are so many variables in winemaking, and that's the huge challenge, right? Is it might be that your Syrah had a different year in the vineyard, so it might do better in a different type of oak this year, or it might have had a different experience out on the crush pad when we're smashing the grapes. For example, the first year we had our new destimmer, the thing was programmed wrong. It was spinning 100 times too fast, and it was turning everything into mush. So what do you get? A highly extracted wine. which means you're extracting lots of flavor. When those arms are spinning too fast and beating the hell out of the grapes, the juice is getting a lot of contact with the skin, so you're getting a lot more flavor, but you're also getting a lot more of these tannins. So maybe that wine, that juice would stand up to a new French oak, whereas the one that was processed much more gently would go with a neutral barrel. And that's the winemaker's decision. It's really not a science, it's an art, it's about experience, and that's kind of the magic of winemaking, is experimentation and moving with the variables. People kind of make fun of recipe wine. Oh, I followed this recipe and here's what it turns out to be. That's not real winemaking. Real winemaking is adapting to these things that are going right and going wrong and getting a product that you're proud of and that you can sell. Those are kind of the two big considerations. A lot more people are moving to these bigger barrels because bigger barrel, lower surface area to volume ratio, so less oxygen. Less oxygen, the fruit's better protected, a bigger fruit bomb, potentially. Although, once again, less contact with the wood, you're going to soak up less oak sugars. Do you want that? Do you want a bigger fruit bomb? Well, what if it's not getting any oxygen at all? And you had some unhappy yeast cells during the fermentation process, and they're creating some sulfites. If there's not just a little bit of oxygen hitting that wine, it's not going to evolve. It's not going through what the French call élevage, you know, the bringing up of the wine. This gentle interaction with oxygen that turns it into kind of undrinkable juice, into something that people pay a lot of money for and has all kinds of interesting and complex flavors and smells in it that make people want to keep drinking it, keep experiencing it, and learning more about it.